I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. But the but the new one, or they have some sort of a new series which I haven't really heard too much of, so perhaps we'll check that out as well. If anyone knows, or if anyone has an opinion on it, I'd actually be very interested in hearing it. I see Tim Lynn says great content. Say hi to my wife, Sexy Lynn. Hello, Sexy Lynn. Good morning to you. Shout out to you as well. Oh, is that her in your avatar? Yeah, she looks very lovely. She looks very, very nice. Maybe even sexy as well. And I want to say hello to all the sexy ladies out there as well right now. Elsie, you are not sexy, but everyone else who is. What? Sorry. Well, look. It is what it is, okay? Hey, please. Yeah, we might get to that a little bit later. Do you ever watch Ozarks? Are you quitting? Suck me, sir, says Gaines. All right, I love that. All right, just couple more sippy sips here, and then we're back into it. Yeah, actually, speaking of meat processing plants, I noticed that the meat here overnight went up 20%. 20% overnight. Like, kind of, man, I guess inflation really starting to hit now. All right, well, let's let's get into it here, starting off with Bitcoin as always. I want to start off first with the big signal that we've been looking for to kind of come to fruition over the past few days here. Now starting to show its, or starting to rear its head. I'm going to turn down that volume over there. And that's going to be the daily on this chart. The daily signal, as we do see, is mostly based off of the daily BBWP, measuring volatility of the dispersion of returns. We have seen one of the lowest for longest reads basically recently, starting in late April to where we're at right now, looking like it is about to be resolved. Now, of course, this can still kind of stay down here for maybe a few more days, but ultimately this is designed mathematically to expand from here. And we have seen over the past couple of years here 10 relatively similar signals to this, of which I consider a relatively similar signal to this with daily volatility essentially in the single digit percentiles. You can see right here, we actually got down all the way below 1 percentile. So one of the lowest reads of all time, or sorry, not of all time, but that we've seen in the past couple of days here. So the resolution from this, the expansion phase from this, theoretically would likely be greater than, especially the ones that didn't get as far down as this one in particular. Anyways, I've gone ahead and I've measured out the past 10 iterations of this, not including the current one that we're in, and it has led to, on average, about a 20% move, to reference the title of this video, to the upside or the downside. Obviously, volatility is direction neutral, so we use a momentum oscillator to get a bit of a directional bias in this case. But as you can see over here, when I do back test it, you'll very likely notice that on average it takes about let's say 7 to 14 days. I wouldn't say that there's actually a great rhyme or reason with that one, because some of them happen incredibly fast, some of them happen more around the 3-week mark, but typically speaking around about 20%. And because this one is a little bit lower than that in this case, it would be reasonable to suggest that, at least in my opinion, that this one's probably going to be a little bit more on the top end of that average. Anyways, if you'll also notice as we go a little bit more deeply into the signal, the first leg of that volatility expansion was, or sorry, the direction of that volatility expansion was set on the first day of that volatility expansion. What I mean by that is that first uptick, like you see right here, like you see right here, like you see right here. You'll very likely notice if you match that up with the green vertical bars, as you can see right here, that first drop down, well, that one got follow through alongside that volatility expansion all the way through. Of course, this one over here, more, in what was it, middle of March, same thing over here, same thing over here, same thing over here, same thing over here. And so on and so forth. Not always. There are a few iterations way back on over here where it did actually go the opposite direction for 2 of them first, but for most of them, same direction. And I just want to call out the most recent one that we did see that we identified in early April. This one happened right in front of our very faces, as did, well, all of the other ones, but this one, it's just more recent, so I think it's probably more recently in the minds of people who are especially tuning into the content of this channel. Well, we're seeing essentially the same thing right in over here. Takes a little bit of patience, obviously, but in this case, you can see that off of that first day right here, big move down, closing actually on new lows for this south side move. And so I do expect that this likely does get continuation to the downside. We can also take it one step further and apply a stochastic momentum oscillator, of which there's 2 major things to be aware of with this. First and foremost, the direction of the volatility expansion has been correct with the daily stochastic momentum oscillator on the first tick of that volatility expansion for 8 out of the past 10 times. I've actually measured, just drew it out over here basically. 2 of those times did not work out. They were actually back on over here and coming off of summer of 2021. But as you can see right here, the daily stochastic momentum is still angled towards the downside, remaining within the bearish control zone. So that I would go as far to say that Bitcoin is, essentially very, very likely to see this volatility expansion to the downside as long as this condition is met, which we've been marching down here for the past couple days. And this is now going to be 39,100. So that is to say, again, as long as Bitcoin's below that level, there is no talks of hopium, no talks of bear trap, no talks of any fucking bullshit short squeeze, which you can't fucking squeeze shorts in a downtrend anyways. You squeeze them in an uptrend. Obviously, it's probably shorts covering if you actually want the proper technical definition for that. Drives me fucking crazy when I see this cross the web, but hey, that's probably my problem anyways. In this case, again, I want to be very, very deliberately clear. If you want just the sort of takeaway sentence, as long as Bitcoin's below 39,100, I do look for this to come to the downside. And technically speaking, if we were to apply a 20% move to the downside from this precipice right here on that volatility expansion, that puts Bitcoin down around about $33,000 or so, basically the weekly lows, as we can see for the past like year, actually, the past year essentially. So I would, I'd kind of be looking at that region. Obviously, it matches up with several other major macro things as well. If we go to this chart over here, which we will go into the short terms a little bit later, but in this case right here, if you go to the bi-weekly, you will notice that the green 55 is coming in right around that region. Actually, a little bit higher than that, to be fair, but this is on a closing basis, of course. And same thing with the 3-week as well, naturally, as they are, rather similar timeframes. But you can kind of see structure coming in around that region if we do get continuation, obviously. Now, with that in mind, I think that there are a few things in the lower term timeframes that do make me consider that Bitcoin can very easily see a short-term bounce here. And hey, if that short-term bounce closes on a daily back above 39,100, then I would really consider the possibilities that we do see a bear trap coming in from this. But until that happens, it's not the forefront of what I'm essentially looking for. Now, if we want to take this one step further, I do want to talk about the next thing over here, of which I want to reference the 5-day time frame. We're not going to go over the volatility versus momentum chart, but we're going to go over CME, which closes the 5-day today. So the 5-day time frame for CME is closing today at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, I do believe. As of right now, it is a bearish engulfing dildo, which implies continuation to the downside, and we will also see the 5-day stochastic momentum turn to the downside for the first time basically since November, with any sort of a closure today below 40,400 for specifically CME. If that does happen, that'd be the next sort of, in my opinion, nail in the coffin for Bitcoin. Very, 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 very likely from a statistical standpoint, trading, down towards those regions in the coming weeks. With that in mind, should we get into the doomium here? No, I don't think that we're gonna have enough time for that. What I would like to get into, however, is the short-term timeframes, because in the short-term timeframes, Bitcoin can very easily bounce here. So what essentially is kind of playing into that right now? Well, first and foremost, we do see the lowest, or I wouldn't say the lowest, but one of the lowest among the lowest funny rates that we have seen on the hourly. So this is a very low-term time frame of negative 0.09%. So basically negative 0.01%, which is decent, to be fair. We do expect negative funny rates during downside trending movements, obviously, but in this case offers up the potential for a little bit of a short-term, short-term rally. And to top that one off, or to kind of combine that with the open interest over here on the Krown trade application, we can go down to the hourly. We can see that a lot of this open interest, especially in the short term, which we are referencing on the hourly, obviously, is essentially, very, very likely shorts being added, pretty much around the lows of this move thus far. So does Bitcoin put in a little bit of a short-term rally here? Definitely possible, especially if we start to see lower term time frame stochastic momentum oscillators turn around, of which we can go reference them right here. Let me just double check if CME and spot price action are on the same trigger right there. Yes, indeed they are. 4-hour stochastic momentum will actually continue with downside pressure as long as Bitcoin's below 40,450. 6-hour will also be showing fresh downside momentum and volatility taking up as long as Bitcoin's below 40,000 bucks. Okay, so not the most pleasurable look right there. 3-hour also downside pressure below 39,400. Bi-hourly is going to be showing what? Is going to be showing upside, but a corrective signal with volatility likely going into a bit of a contraction phase right there, but will be up above about 38,100. And then the hourly, which actually I quite like as well for this. Hey, what's up, Burn Crumb? Good morning to you. Is showing upside pressure. Again, a bit of a corrective signal with volatility looking for a contraction phase as long as Bitcoin's above 37,800. So ultimately, can Bitcoin spend a little bit of time going sideways here? Maybe put in a bit of a short-term rally somewhere around 39,000 bucks. Definitely possible if if we do put a, if we do mark off the short-term time frame ranges and then put a fib on it, you will notice that the 382 is actually right around that number, about 38,900 to be exact, with the 0.5 at about 39,250. So those are kind of the two areas to be looking for. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to get a rally up there. I'm just saying that if you do see a continuation up around there, that's kind of that, these are areas where I would be expecting a short-term rejection before continuation to the downside, assuming that the daily trigger is not met, obviously. So that is to say that if we're even on short-term timeframes like here, so I kind of define short-term timeframes as 4-hour time frame and under, as long as Bitcoin is even closing the 4-hour delta below the 0.5 retracement, which is 39,250, I do think that you could kind of front run that daily signal, being that if we do see a 4-hour closure above that level, then naturally short-term timeframe stochastic momentum will start to turn up on many timeframes, and we probably actually do put in a bit of a trap move. And if Bitcoin sees anywhere above even yesterday's high, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to put in a nice big rally, a big girthy green dildo rally towards, the $43,000 region. And that's where the long-term hopium starts to come into play. Of course, I stay with what I said yesterday that, hey, if Bitcoin does trade above last week's high, I would confirm this is a local low, also a higher low with targets upwards and onwards. I'd be looking for that volatility expansion to, very likely trade up somewhere north of $50,000. But for right now, again, the probabilities and statistics do suggest that the downside is significantly more likely. We kind of been repeating the same thing, especially ever since this area over here at about $44,500 to $45,000. And, I will be consistent with that until proven otherwise. Again, that's all that I care about in trading. I care about statistics and probabilities, nothing else. There is no predictions. There is no bullshit like that. There's only statistics, just raw and boring data for the most part. Anyways, other than that, I'll save the Doomium case for the monthly a little bit later. And for right now, we should talk about downside areas to potentially be looking for a bit of short-term bounce. It's the same one as before, basically. We hit the the upper end of that, being at about 37,500. I don't think that that's like a big basin area, but $37,000 very likely does beget a nice short-term bounce at minimum. Again, bounce can come up, somewhere around 38.5 to 39,000 bucks. But if Bitcoin does start to close even 4-hour dildos below about $37,000, I would be looking for, the majority of that volatility expansion target to be hit somewhere down around about $34,000 to $35,000 in this pocket right here before the next bounce. And then technically speaking, or historically speaking, that target based off of that data is still a little bit lower than that. And that's where I start to probably look for big weekly bounces. Until then, I think, until then, I hope that this information was in some way helpful. And yeah, there you go. Nice one. All right. So yeah, I think we got that. Okay, we got that. Oh, I did forget to mention that on the funding rates over here, contrary to the hourly, which is showing about negative 0.01%, the daily is showing pretty much the opposite of that. So the majority of the people in the last day, they probably did long into that, into that dumpola right there. Anyways, hey, what's up, Philson? Nice one. Yeah, nice one indeed. I'm going to finish off the rest of this caffeine. And what's up, Stalix Series? Good morning to you, man. I believe you are our neighbor over there in Estonia. 2717 says, rarely catch Krown live. This is such a, man, I appreciate that. All good, brother. And Murdoch, are those fucking annoying creatures in World of Warcraft? Stupid fucking things. Obviously not you, man, but the name itself. Anyways, let me just make sure that I got this set up over here. Why am I so judgmental, sir? I'm just trying to lighten the mood when we're all poor again. Okay, Jesus Christ. Bag prices going up. All right, let me get rid of this coffee over here. Where can I give it to me? Thank you, baby. All right, excellent. I have the best girlfriend of all time. Capsule. But not sexy. Yes, the best unsexy girlfriend of all time. Okay, let me just scroll over here. Let's see what comments we got lined up. Sir, do you want me to call you a sexy beezy? Okay, you're sexy beezy. All right. Do you want everyone to know? Would you... Go check out Elsa69 on Instagram and TikTok for amazing sexiness. All right, SK is first. Oh, no, I already read that. But all good, man. Massive thank you for that. And I'm really, really happy to hear that as well. Like, that's just amazing, man. It sounds like you've really taken it and made it your own, even though, we're probably looking at different things. And that is really, the kind of thing that I want to be a part of. where people can kind of, where people, you know, they have different styles, they have different opinions, but they can come together as colleagues and reference and then, you know, put it into their own preferences, making it work for them. That's fucking awesome, man. That is amazing. Paul Garrett says, 1/4 of my position for near USD was filled. Was the retracement met or more downside? I don't know. Let's see. Let me get rid of this. Or do we need this chart? Hold on. No, we do not need this chart. So let's get rid of it for now. So let's clean up some space, some real estate on my screen here. Speaking of real estate on screen, I can assure you that Elsa has no knowledge of what a fucking of what that means. She literally has 40 to 50 tabs open. It's like it's stressful, man. Anyways, the question is, was the retracement met or more downside? This is the area where I would be looking for a bounce from. I think that it's possible you might get a wick down here and then close somewhere back above about 12 3/4. But ultimately, I would be looking for bounces around this region. If we go down to a 4, maybe that's going to be a bit more of an interesting look on this one. Let's see. Let me just make sure my drawing tools are. Yeah. Okay. So we do have hidden bearish divergence right there, but it is going to start to morph into bullish divergence the second that you do start to confirm a local low. That won't happen, however, until you start to close 4 hours above about 1330. So with that in mind, I probably would say that you actually, it might be a little bit more likely that you see one more move to the downside somewhere just below $12, and then perhaps, you know, a wick down there and then closure back above about 12.5 to 12 3/4. On lower term timeframes, I am starting to see that volatility is getting, like, you know, very extreme here, but I don't think that the move is actually done just yet. I want to see this get back below the moving average. So very, very close, especially on a daily. But yeah, I think you're pretty fucking close here. The 618, very much in line, or I wouldn't say very much in line, but very close to the white 200 simple. You know, these are good bouncing areas. But I don't think, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I really have to consider if I was trading this myself. You know, given what Bitcoin potentially could do here, would I trust this for like a reversal off this region? No. I do think it's very likely to bounce off that region, yes. And you're also coming off the weekly 21 as well. But I do think that this one is starting to put in like a major macro top here, to be honest with you. And I do think that longer term, you probably do see somewhere down around $10, just personal opinion. But I would not validate a move like that, especially as long as you're closing dailies above 1180. Below 1180, you know, send it back down to those lows. Until then, I think that you're more likely to do something like this. More likely to come back down here, put in a bounce, who knows how high it comes up, don't fucking know, but as long as it's below about 15.5, I would be looking for that one to keel on back and over, especially if Bitcoin dumps out as well. I don't think that this one's going to, you know, be doing its own thing. So so fair enough. Just a long way of saying I do think that you have a little bit more down here. And if I'm referencing daily volatility and daily momentum oscillators, it actually does suggest that this one probably does trade further south over time. But I would be looking for bounces basically within this pocket right here. Let me just highlight it out. Yeah, basically right around here. 618, 200 simple. I mean, these are typical bouncy areas for what it's worth. Other than that, let's see what else we got going on right now. I think we have Mr. Dildo. Mr. Dildo, powerful man, powerful name. That's amazing. Okay, so we got AVAX you're looking at, and you're looking at a 4 hour. Looks like the LARP lines are still playing out here. I mean, I think last time I looked at this, I was suggesting that this one probably breaks down towards $60 in the coming like month or two, and I'm kind of generally still of that same opinion. Yeah, somewhere in low 60s. We already got down to about 67.38. But I would be looking for bounces somewhere around here at about 62 to 60 base. Let's see, but you're specifically on a 4 hour. So what are we looking like on a 4 hour? Do we have any sort of divergences to be aware of? Not yet. Here's what I'd say about a 4 hour. I do look at this one as very, very likely to trade lower as long as you're below this last little swing high right here, which is $73. So that's kind of where I start to look at this as a bear trap. If you do start to trade above this region right here, again, $73, at that point, I would be looking for big moves up into the deep 70s. And, you know, you probably complete the bear trap, you know, nastily, well, at least for the bears. But for right now, I do still think that there's more downside overall. You know, again, it's similar to Bitcoin, right? It's like there's going to be bounces along the way. Obviously, it's not going to be a straight line down. But if I'm generally looking for Bitcoin to trade further south, kind of have to be looking for the same thing on the majority of assets within this market, if you can call them that. And this one, long term, I do think we'll reach somewhere down like closer to $60, maybe even like 55 if things get really, really crazy. But if you're specifically on the 4 hour, trying to look for something that's obvious here. Again, I don't see any bullish divergence, so that goes out the window. Maybe we can see some stochastic momentum turning against, or hopefully against, if you do want to be bullish on it. 71.45 going to be the magical number on that one. So that's not even the 21 right there. I would go as far to say, though, if you do close a 4 hour maybe above about 71.85, that would be okay. That would be okay. I think that you could front run the short-term reversal there. You'd technically have a higher low in place, and you'd be basically back around your prior high. So very likely a trap gets initiated from there. But I do want to be very specific in stating this. I do think that this is hopium right now. I do think that this hopium right now is basically what I'm trying to say. Yeah, 12-hour daily, both still showing downside overall. So whether you get a short-term bounce or not, I think it's kind of, neither here nor there. I do think that this one very likely does trade down first to about 66 and a half or so, probably another bounce there. And then over time, probably in these next couple months, somewhere down around about 60, probably even a little bit south of there as well. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to be looking at on this particular one. Let's see what else we got. Mr. Googly Lee says, hello, sir. What's up, man? Can you look at APUSD? the highly offensively named cryptocurrency. Not bad, though. Not bad. Assuming I'm looking at the right chart, but yeah, I'd actually still be somewhat bullish on this, man. I guess yeah, I suppose so. I think it's maybe got one more try towards $19 to $20 or so. I would only invalidate bullishness and call a deeper retracement down to the 1580-ish region if you do see at minimum an hourly closure below 17 and a quarter. So until that happens, I'm actually looking for this one to give one more try to the upside, maybe even to new highs as well. As always, though, when looking at altcoins, especially very, very new ones, it is, difficult to kind of be looking for something generally different than Bitcoin. But I suspect that if Bitcoin does bounce and maybe even puts in a bit of a bear trap, you're very likely going to see this one make new highs. But for right now, a bit of a short-term range bound, but I would actually have a bullish bias on this for the time being. And I would even call new highs if you see an hourly closure above 18.95 or so, even on an hourly. This one actually, for what it's worth, man, relatively good, which is very, very interesting to see. Cool. All right, let's see what else we got going on over here. Man, I already need to pee, and this is going to be a very long stream. I can already feel it, man. I can already feel it in my plums. James Bob says DFX, 4 hour and daily. Okay. Do I want a bucket? I want a bottle. Oh, it's a crypto. Of course it is. And it doesn't trade versus the dollar. So at best, we're going to be able to get this thing over here. Or can James Bob, can you let us know? Can you let Elsa know if you meant the stock or if you meant the crypto? I'm going to assume you meant the crypto. Dare I look at this thing? Actually pretty fucking good here, whatever it is for the short term. Long term, never going to be a fan of a chart like this. But I'm guessing something fundamental happened. It looks like this thing is like extremely low price and barely trades, so it's always hard to trust something like this. But might get one more move up towards about, what the fuck is this? Jesus Christ, man, what the hell is this number? This area right here, basically, 889 to 935 or so. I would, other than that, not really say too much about it. If you do see what I'm going to talk about next, I'd immediately call a major trap and moves back down towards your current lows. And that would be with a daily closure below 575 region, whatever the hell that number is as well. Other than that, I really don't have a strong opinion on charts that look like this. And I generally try to stay away from them and like offering up an opinion on them, because I just don't think that I have a really good opinion on this. But if I did have to call it, I do think that you have more continuation to the upside here, somewhere around that next target, and probably pull back from there. But other than that, I really don't have a strong opinion on it. Okay, cool. Julio U says, can we check out the big three? We can just do one. Ethereum USD. We'll start with Ethereum, because I think Ethereum is, I don't know, people always want to see Ethereum, and I'm interested in Ethereum as well. I'm actually going to trade in Ethereum. Let's see. Where do I want to start? Let's actually set this up over here. I'm definitely going to record this one. Let's go maybe to the daily as well. And what about the 5-day? Oh my God. Oh, dear Lord. Okay. All right, here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, and we just got a silver crown cross to the downside right here. This is actually a pretty good example of when I called it out on the Discord yesterday. I even took a trade on it myself. And what am I talking about? Well, first, let me highlight it out. We see extremely low volatility conditions. We see the cross right here. It's trading below all major moving averages that I have up, and momentum oscillator is also pointed down here as well. So I do look at this as a trending movement in motion, and very obviously, or sorry, very likely to continue with downside unless if this next condition is met, which is a daily closure above 29.50. As long as that is to say, as long as price action is below there, I do look for this cross to play out into a trending movement with targets down towards, you know, your March lows, basically in the 25 to 2600 pocket, somewhere around there. Now in the short term, is it more likely to bounce here alongside Bitcoin? Yeah, you know, short term can bounce very easily up to 2880 to maybe even just north of 2900. You even have a little bit of bullish divergence building up over here, assuming that you do close this next 4 hour basically here or higher. I'd feel a little bit better on the hourly if you saw that closure actually happen above about 2885 and then targets up just north of 2900. These are very, very tight and small ranges right here, but you know, we are on lower term timeframes. Ultimately, though, higher term timeframes alongside Bitcoin, I would be biased towards more downside continuation. The 5 days about to get a crown cross to the downside and on very low volatility, and with 5 days stochastic momentum also crossing down for the first time in this region, or around this region, I should say, since November. November was when the all-time highs were put in on this asset, and we're even playing out a bit of a trendline regression test and rejection here as well, going back to August highs, November highs, and the highs that we just saw recently in middle of April or so. And that will be remaining with downside momentum as long as Ethereum is below 3,400, which seems quite likely for right now. Other than that, if I did want to talk about potential trap situations, it'd be over here on the daily. Again, I'd need to see a daily closure specifically above, well, at least 2850 would actually be a decent sign. And then personally speaking, above the same area that I called out earlier, which is 29.50, but above 28.50, you know, I would say that this one's gonna have a bit of a chance to put in a bit of a bear trap. And then if you see above 29.50, that would be full confirmation for myself. You know, probably trades back up well north of 3,000 into the 32 to 3,300s relatively fast. Do I think that that's what's happening here? No, I think that that's more or less hopium. But as we do see, you know, daily extremely low volatility. All momentum also is pointing down. You know, I do think that this one's a lot more likely to trade to the south side. Weekly, nothing super interesting right there, actually, that hasn't already been said. But weekly, as far as stochastic momentum goes, it should be known that any sort of a closure below 29.15 at the end of this week will force us down, which we've actually seen upside momentum the whole way through, which in hindsight was a corrective signal, obviously. Other than that, I suppose we could go through the lower term timeframes as well, just to see if there's any, you know, rhyme or reason between them. 6 hour is freshly crossing down below 2980, so downside pressure below that number. 4 hour downside pressure below about 3000. Again, volatility is suggesting that a corrective move is probably coming here relatively soon, but still even downside pressure on a 3 hour as well, actually 2915, and hourly is going to be showing probably up, actually, yeah, up, but a corrective signal right here above 2785. So short term, what does that equate to? Likely sideways, assuming that short term it doesn't take out those relevant regions. At minimum, I do think that this is, you know, likely setting up for continuation to the downside in the coming weeks. Maybe not necessarily today, but in the coming weeks. Other than that, I'll leave that one off right there, and hopefully that was helpful for Ethereum. What? Yeah, I did both the yellow ones, yeah. Yep. No, Crypto King is next. Oh, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Henderson's. I just want to mention, ever since Elsa got a promotion, we have not heard pots, pans, and other random kitchen utensils. Yeah, man, she has to actually work now. Okay, actually has to fucking earn it. Do something useful. Okay. Just kidding, man. No, she is a great girlfriend, but yeah, man, no pots or pans. And soon enough, we'll have a well, maybe not soon enough, but in the next 4 months, yeah, we'll be moving 4 or 5 months or so. We're going to be moving into our new place, and the kitchen will be very far away from the recording station. So looking forward to that as well. Let's see. I think we got Martin Hunt next. He says gold USD. Yep, we can definitely do that. I'm actually curious to see where this one is myself. I guess we go to this one right here, and let's see. Long term, I'm still actually quite bullish on this, but I do think that this one is going to probably retrace a little bit further first. Let's see. Let's hold on. You are on a daily and weekly. I do want to see what like a quarterly looks like here. Quarterly. Yeah, long term, I'm still going to be bullish on this one long term. The question is, where does it find its next higher low on your daily and weekly? Well, weekly probably puts in a short term bounce here. Bounce can come back up towards 1920-ish region without really doing anything. But I am getting some signals for maybe one more leg down. That leg down perhaps coming all the way down to 1870-ish region. yeah, 1870-ish region if it does happen. But for right now, short term on a daily, or relatively speaking, probably can bounce back up towards about 1920 or so. If you do see a daily closure above 1920, I would say that this one actually will essentially complete the range reclaim and trade back up towards your 1960 to 1970-ish region. Long term though is what I feel a lot more confident on this asset, which I would be massively bullish on the quarterly. I do think that this one is going to trade up towards probably 3,000, in the coming years, but it's slow as fuck. So, does it go for a more prolonged correction over here first? Probably yes. But I have no reason to not be long-term bullish on this, like macro bullish on this, especially as long as you're above about 1,800. So big ranges there, moves slow like molasses. I don't have the patience for it, but if you do, I suspect that it's probably giving you a pullback here before another try to the upside long-term. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I don't really think that I have too many interesting things to say there, or helpful things, more importantly. Crypto King says, please TA on Dixie 4-hour. I really honestly, I think that the people who look at Dixie on low-term timeframes, anything below even a daily, honestly, are completely misguided, to be just frank with you. Also, Elsa's the world's best. You are so lucky. Yeah, I mean, she's great. She's amazing. Okay, look, if I go down here to a 4-hour, look, I really do think that people who look at this on short-term timeframes are just completely misguided. But if you put a gun in my head and say Krown, analyze it, yeah, short-term probably does pull back somewhere down around about 102 or so. Long-term though, we are getting very, very close to, or we're actually even above my area here. So I guess the next area would be just about a buck higher, $1.50 higher. And I do think that it will trade up there. I mean, long-term, this is massively bullish. Quarterly is massively ultra fucking mega bullish here, but this can take, years to play out. Hidden bullish divergence right here. It's the lowest quarterly volatility reads that we've ever seen ever on this asset for the longest time. Very likely trades up towards a $1.10, maybe even goes for a full-on reversal long-term. I wouldn't necessarily know. But for right now, you're very, very close to a pullback region, whether it's right here, whether it trades another buck to the upside. I don't know. But if you literally just want the 4-hour, yeah, I think that probably has a short-term pullback to 102. But I really don't think that any time frame below a daily matters, especially if you're drawing correlations between this and whatever asset that you're trading. You're really wanting to look at the macro trend. That's where I've actually found a bit of a, a bit of a help in looking at this. Other than that, I actually think that this is mostly a distraction that people analyze way too fucking much, and it's usually a sign that. Usually this a sign that person's focused on things that are just less tangible. In this case, generally speaking, I do think that this one has one more leg up, and then probably pulls back from that 103 region, maybe a little bit higher, but it's getting pretty close. And again, that pullback, again, not the same thing as reversal. Long term, I am mega bullish on this. There is absolutely nothing bearish about this chart at all whatsoever, especially as long as you're above about 97.5. So yeah. What's up, Burnt Creme? I see you, brother. I see you. The mushroom tip, baby. We got some mushroom tips over here. Zen Bull Trading says Solana on the 4-hour. Okay. Simple SOL. Yeah, this is one that no one seems to really care about anymore. Wow, that's what? Oh, except the spammers, says Elsa. Another one that has a very similar setup to a lot of the other assets that we've looked at today. Could you get a bit of a bear trap here? Possible. I think low probability, but if you do see this one trade back above this last local high right here, about a buck 101, I would say that you do have at minimum a medium-term time frame bear trap going on, and this one probably trades up towards a buck 06 to a buck 10. That actually look pretty damn good, but again, I think this one's more likely to trade to the south side overall. Same thing on the daily as far as setup goes. Very low volatility, silver cross to the downside. Momentum also is pointing down. I'm looking for that volatility expansion to come to the downside. Even the 5-day has it as well, which I probably wouldn't trust on something that's this new. But ultimately, if you just want me to look at the 4-hour, I think it's actually quite relevant. You might have just seen the high of this rally here. Let's see, where's the pain point on this chart, for example. Let's go to a 4-hour. Still downside pressure as long as you're below $100. So yeah, I'd go as far to say that as long as you're below $100, the direction is down, and I'd probably be looking, I guess next area would be 92 to 93 for a short-term bounce. But ultimately, I do think that this one finds its way just south of $90 before you do see a respectable bounce, if you will. That being around 89 and change. So yeah. Just long-term fucking bearish as long as you're below $100. It's just a long way of saying that, basically. Hopefully that was helpful, man. Cool. Mr. Gwyn, there he is. What's up, brother? Hello, sir. Can you check out Goldberg? What the fuck is this? What? Ticker, man. Yeah, I did everything about that. All right, I'm guessing it's this. All right, I've never heard of it before. It trades on ISEE, though. Looking for price over resistance at $26, holding $25 calls, expiring at June 3rd. But how much did you pay for them? I think you should take profit on those fucking calls, man. Okay, so you're expiring June 3rd, so that's kind of far away. I mean, I do think that this one is going to trade further south from here, down to about 21.5 to $21 at least. So what does that mean for you? Well, depending upon the premium that you paid, I mean, I wouldn't see any issue with taking profit here, at least partials. I mean, June, like, again, this thing moves very, very slow, right? So I'm looking for this one to pull back first and then probably bounce from like 21-ish, let's say, give or take about a quarter from that number. Other than that, does it bounce back above your strike price plus the premium that you paid? Yeah. Okay. So you're looking for price over 26. So I'm guessing that, okay, you bought $25, you bought 25 strike calls for $1. It sounds like is what I'm guessing. No, I think that this is not going to turn in your favor, before that time frame is met. Can I be wrong about that? Yeah, absolutely. But this, while I probably would be looking for this one to follow the general path of gold, let's just see. Nah, it's kind of a different chart than general gold, but, yeah, I think that the rally that you're looking for probably doesn't happen within that time frame, to be honest with you. I just in general, I hate buying premium. I do think that you're very likely to bounce off that like $21 or so number, but does it bounce back above your $26 real price? And that's just where you break even. I'm guessing. I probably would not. I would spread those, man. Personal opinion. Of course, it's not financial advice, but there's nothing wrong with spreading those to kind of reduce costs, especially if it's going against you here. Druzzy says, twinkle, twinkle, cow go moo. I shit on people. Al boo boo. What the fuck? Can you go over S&P and if or how it can influence Bitcoin's forecasted big move? Yeah, we can go off of it. I mean, it's no secret that Bitcoin and just all markets are basically correlated with each other. But I would always put the focus and emphasis on the asset that you're trading first and foremost. When you start to draw correlations and then trade between them, to me, it doesn't really make too much sense unless you're trading options between them. And then still, it wouldn't really make sense to me because it's just easier to look at the fucking asset at hand. People want to make things as complicated as possible, and trading's already complicated enough, man. Make it easier for yourself. In this case right here, long term, can it influence Bitcoin's move? Or you're basically asking me, if this one goes south, if this one goes further south, do I expect Bitcoin to go as well? Yeah, I mean, this is basically a liquidity bubble, at least in the way that I understand it. You're seeing a long-term macro reversal right here. That'll be fully confirmed, completed with a nice bull trap from March, with any sort of a monthly closure, which is just 2 days away on Friday, just 2 days away, or basically 3 trading days, seeing as today isn't open just yet, below 4,100. And if you see that, I'm looking for this one to trade down well below 4,000, 36 to 3,700, in the coming like a year or so, maybe shorter than that, maybe longer than that. Who the fuck knows? I have no idea. But obviously that would not bode well for Bitcoin. Now, I want to be very, very deliberately clear with this. I wouldn't expect Bitcoin to always be correlated to traditional markets. And what's the old saying? My mentor taught me this saying. He said, yeah, they have a great relationship going on right now, right? They have a great relationship, but as most American knows, or as most Americans know, the strong majority of relationships end in disastrous divorce. And well, at some point, I do expect that correlation to subside. So, other than that, if I was just trading this chart right here and trying to relate it to Bitcoin, I'm looking a lot further down in the coming like year or so. If we look at even stochastic momentum, I wonder if the monthly is even turned yet. Yeah, it's literally just about to test the edge of the bullish control zone here, which it actually has not lost in the past 10 years. So if you do see even a move below there, which we won't obviously confirm this month, but next month, potentially coming into June, that would be a really good indication we're going to see a macro correction here down to like 36, 37 region. probably not going to bode too well for Bitcoin. Javi or Javi Beans? Javi Beans? Can you chart out GMT for us? Sure, I can try. Let's see, this one is the running token. Did you know that if you have this piece of shit, or this thing, then if you run, then you get paid in cryptos or some shit like that? Yeah, exactly. Elsie, you could be rich. She goes running every day. What? Yeah, I think that's how it works. Does anyone, am I thinking of the right one? I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of the right one. It's actually good right here. I'd actually be bullish on this. 370. This one might even make a new high. Seems completely uncorrelated to Bitcoin's movements. I would invalidate that. I would invalidate bullishness with a daily closure below about $3, but I'm pretty sure that's the same thing that we said earlier this week. Yeah, same chart. Below $3, I call a major top here, and this one probably trades back down towards 240. Until that happens, I'm actually looking for this one to trade back up towards your prior highs and maybe make new highs into the $4 regions in the coming weeks or months. Can't wait to brag to my friends that I can read dildos. Well, you can already do it, but they might get a different idea about it, man. Okay, SK says, Krown, you can buy an NFT, which is a shoe, and through an app, you can track your steps and earn GMT. That's actually kind of cool. That's actually kind of cool. You could do that if you wanted. You buy an NFT, it links up to your shoe, to like a special shoe that you have, and the more that you run, the more GMT tokens are shit. What kind of, it has to be a sparkly cute shoe for her, but well, I ain't fucking doing that shit, so you don't have to convince me. Yes, actually should probably look into that. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be fun for you too. Ben0613 says XCAD for daily weekly. Sure. Did I? Yeah, I did that one. For our daily weekly. Good. Another chart that's doing something completely different than Bitcoin. I'd be looking for continuation here to 4.95, maybe even $5. Yeah, I'd be looking for a short-term pullback there, but long-term, is this one putting in the macro reversal that you're probably hoping for? Maybe. I would call it a macro reversal if you do see a weekly closure above 520 specifically. At that point, I look for this one to give big rallies up into the $6.5, $7 numbers in the following weeks. But for right now, I look for one more leg higher probably. And I would only invalidate bullishness with a move below yesterday's low, which is 369 or so. Let me just double check. Yeah, 369 is close enough in this case. Ooh, got some coffee coming up. Not quite savage says mushroom tip, the mushroom tip. Respect it, baby. Webby says MicroStrategy, MSTR. Yeah, we can do that. MSTR. This is going to be one hell of a chart, I'm sure. Oh, God. Continuation, motherfucker. You're looking at a weekly and a quarterly. Okay. Let's go to a weekly. I'm looking for weeklies back down to $300 base. Probably bounce there. Nothing bullish about this thing at all whatsoever, as long as you're below 520. So if you saw something like this, where it comes down and then pops back up, or maybe does something like that and then pops back above that high, that would be a really good long-term indication. If we go to a quarterly, I think this can get much worse on a quarterly. I think this could come down to like 250 after a bounce at 300 or so. It's personal opinion. So yeah, let's see, what does log scale look like? Yeah, this thing literally looks like the chart of a shitcoin, funnily enough. Yeah, I strongly believe that you're going to be coming down to like low 300s. Probably set up a forward balance there between 335 and 300 even. And then if that bounce fails to get back above $500 highs, I'd be looking for a next big leg down towards 250. Long term, very long term here, obviously. Jay Header says, morning, sir. AMP 4 and daily on Gemini. Okay. AMP USD. Alrighty. Gemini. Yes, that's right. Okay. Wow. Really not great. 400 daily. Okay, let's go down to your daily. Daily closed on new lows for this Dumbola party. The thing with this is, just like the last time we spoke about it, you know, at some point it will be creating some pretty impressive drives of regular bullish divergence, but you can't really confirm bullish divergence until you have a local low in. And in this case, I wouldn't even consider a local low being even possible to confirm until you're back above about 2.4 cent. Yeah, 2.4 cent. At that point, yeah, I'd look for this one to put in a big rally. But here's the thing, man. It's like, I don't think that this one's going to be reversing anytime soon if that's what you're interested in. Because like, what would that essentially imply? It essentially implied that you're going to do something like this. It's like, no. I think at best you do something like this, and then for like another year perhaps, and then give a try to the upside. Possible, I guess. I think that would be the hopium. I think this is extremely unlikely to happen. The doomium is that you're going to break below about 1.8 cent and trade all the way back down to your January 2021 lows, which is below about a little bit below 1 cent. But for right now, I suspect that you probably do put in a bounce somewhere around this 2 cent region. Maybe even slightly below 2 cent. Actually, it's more like 1.9 to 2 cent region, somewhere around there. This one's been beat up pretty damn nastily. So, and that bullish divergence very likely does play out somewhere within this region right here. And, we'll see how high the bounce gets. Maybe even gets all the way up to like 3.4, 3.5 region, but long term, hard chart to love. Yeah, not a big fan of it, for what it's worth. Let's see. Marriage is a trap. Marriage is suicides. Oh man, love it. Good day, sirs and sirs. Rune daily and weekly pieces RM. Okay. Rune USD. Let's see what we got on Thorchain. I still think this one's coming down here, man. Just closed below the 200 simple on the daily. Let me take this off for right now. We don't even need it. Let's go to 5 days. Well, I think that this one just put another major high right there. Weekly still shows a little bit of hopium, I guess, as does the monthly. Could I be wrong on that? I will be wrong on. I would actually switch around to being bullish on this one and call a major bear trap with a 4 hour above about 850. I think it's unlikely, but if that did happen, that would indicate that this is starting to turn into a big trap and probably trades back up towards its low teens highs over time. But personally speaking, I do think this one's likely coming back down to like 6.5 to 6.25 over time. Let's see, do we have anything obvious over here? I'm not really getting anything that's like super obvious. That's what's making me hold off from like calling just a mega move to the downside somewhere around like $5 or below $5. But for right now, I am biased towards continuation of the downside. Obviously, if Bitcoin takes another tumble, this one very likely will as well. And I think I made my thoughts known on that. So despite a potential 4 hour trap going on here, which I do think is, again, very unlikely, yeah, I think this one's more likely to trade to the downside here alongside the rest of the market. Just kind of perusing around the different time frames. Yeah. All right. Yeah, fair enough. CZ, it's you? C Limited SE. I'm guessing this is a real stock, like a real equity. There. Yeah, it is on ISEE. Is there any hope for this on the weekly? This one might as well be a fucking crypto chart, man. What the fuck, sir? What the fuck, man? Is there any hope for, I mean, look, like, is there any hope for this chart? It's probably going to put in a big bounce somewhat soon, like somewhere, maybe as soon as like $75, maybe it goes all the way for like 50 first. I don't know. But is there any hope for it? Like hope long-term that it reverses here, trades back up to its prior highs? I think it's very likely that you don't see. I would feel quite confident saying that you're never going to see these highs, at least like at maybe in 10 years. I don't think that you're going to see this. Like, God damn, this is fucking garbage. This is just fucking garbage. This one's been banned from the moon. It doesn't even know what the fucking moon is. This is hot garbage, man. I think that this one's more likely to come down further before any sort of potential meaningful bounce. And again, a meaningful bounce, not the same thing as reversal, let alone a fucking reversal back onto prior highs. I think it's very reasonable to say that you might never see these highs again, or I'd feel very confident saying that you at least 10 years. Like this, good stocks do not do this. I think you're seeing continuation right here, man. I think this is just weak. Very, very weak. Now I would, again, even if it were to bounce up to like $200, it means nothing. That's more than a 2x move from where you're at right now. And I actually would be looking for a bounce of $200 if you see a weekly closure back above 125. It's a big move, but that is, again, not the same thing as reversal. Best case, just corrective bounces, in my opinion. Rogue American, appreciate that, man, but feel free to have a message as well. Good, sir. I think we're only an hour into this. I think I'll just stick around for a little bit longer. Got plenty of food waiting for me as well, man. Let's see. I want to see. Let's go look at Luna. Actually, I would like to record a video on Luna, so I'll request it myself because I don't trade it, but I am always interested because it's been one of the more strong ones, and people have been very mean to me on Twitter for being bearish on this, but I think I'm going to still be bearish on it. Let's do it. All right, here we have Terra Luna symbol LUNA versus the dollar, and we did a couple of videos on this one for the past few weeks, or we've been consistently doing videos on this one, and basically the idea has been that as long as it is maintained within this range right here, it is still looking for deeper retracements over the coming weeks and months, likely back down to the low $70 region. In this case, I actually look at this one as completing this and actually like that it, again, short-term bounces may happen, but very likely to come back down to your lows that you did see in middle of April. Looking at the weekly, looking at the 5-day, I see a very obvious range rejection right here. Yeah, I'd be even looking for it short-term to come back down towards low 80s, like 83 to 84 region. 4-hour time frame. I don't really see anything super obvious right here. I can tell you where I'd flip around and call a major move, back up towards 110, maybe even your prior highs, and maybe even probably just beyond from that point. But if you start to see daily closures back above about $100 or 98 if you want to be super exact, that would be quite good for a long-term major reversal with new targets back up towards prior highs and probably beyond. Until that happens, though, I'm looking for this one trade sideways and down here over the coming weeks and months. Personally speaking, I do think that it'll actually reach somewhere down just south of $70 before a potential major macro low. You can kind of even see a bit of a nasty head and shoulders going on right here as well, though I'm not a humongous fan of those formations. I can tell you where I'd look for this one to essentially kind of fall apart for a bit, which would be below about 77.5. So if you do start to see daily closures below there, I would brace for impact down to like the mid 60s or so. Other than that, let's go check out what stochastic momentum is suggesting over here. And again, short-term bounces, definitely can happen, but monthly stochastic momentum is going to be crossing down for the first time basically since May of 2021. If we do get this monthly closure, which is coming in a few days here below $110. Now, to be fair, on the monthly, there's not enough history here to really put much faith in this momentum oscillator on this time frame. If we go to the weekly, freshly crossing down, playing out a trend line regression here, or I guess I already have it in there, as long as price action is below about $103.5. So that's even above my sort of $100 region. 5-day 115, not good. Daily going to freshly cross down today with a closure below 91.5. I would go as far to say that if you fail to see a closure today above 91.5, I'm looking for this one within the next few weeks here to come back down low 70s. Very likely a big bounce at around upper 70s, like 78 to $80. But ultimately, I would be looking for it to come further down. So hopefully that was helpful in the year for Luna, sirs and zers. Let's see what else we got. Crypto King says 0x. You talking about ZRX? Tickers are more helpful. I'm guessing you're talking about this, right? Let's see. A different chart here, though. A different chart here. 4-hour. The daily is actually rather interesting just because it's put in a bit of a reversal, actually. Let's go down to a 4-hour as you requested, though. 4-hour, I think this one actually trades back around your wick highs from yesterday. Somewhere around 90 cents, maybe as much as 92 cents. I would not call a breakout here to prior highs on this rally, which is about $1.10 and beyond until you start to close 4 hours above about 98 cents. But for right now, sideways is good, and anything above 75 cents is good. And I do look for this one to do something like this and try again to the upside. Again, invalidation below about 75 cents. At that point, I do look for this one to join the rest of the market and come back down well below that region. But for right now, actually showing a bit of a different setup here than most of the things. Long term, still not a humongous fan of this chart, but well, we'll just leave it at that, I guess. Cool. Can I do Rogue American? He says, yes, ma'am. Any books Krown would suggest? My butthole used to be tight and beautiful. Now it's loose and wide because of leverage. It's not because of leverage. It's because you have not learned a strategy nor backtested that strategy and then applied that strategy on a live account. Also, Maha on the daily, please. Man, too many fucking questions. We can look at Maha really quickly. Is this a goddamn crypto or not? It's a fucking crypto, for the love of God. Garbage. It might be okay. I don't know on this one. It's too new, but if I did have to call it, I do think that you get another move up towards like 375. Anyways, to answer your question about books on trading, I don't think that books for trading are useful, at least in my experience. The reason why is because there's too many fucking nuances when it comes to trading that a book just cannot account for. It can give general guidelines. I think books can be great for psychology. I think they can actually be amazing for that. I found a lot of value in that myself, but as far as trading strategies, absolutely not, at least personally speaking. I'm sure that other people out there would disagree. What I can suggest to you is that, one, you're not, your bunghole may very well be loose, but it is not because of leverage. This is a scapegoat that many people choose, you know, to basically blame for their failures. It's not like you'd be magically successful on spot trading if you're not successful on leverage trading, and vice versa there. Although spot trading, you know, you do get, you know, there's a bit different rules, but ultimately it's not going to make you a good trader if you're not already successful on leverage. What's going to make you a good trader, what you should actually fucking do, you don't need a goddamn book, you don't need a program, although these things, you know, could help, is you need to pick some source of edge. You need to backtest that motherfucking piece of edge, and then after countless hours of backtesting, which for me is at least 100 iterations, and I typically go on for another 50 with a small dollar live account before employing it on, you know, a respectable account, then you can start to employ that. But you need to backtest it. You need to actually know the statistics. Do you know the statistics with your strategy? Was it working on spot but not on leverage? Then yes, it's probably leverage. I'm gonna strongly guess that that's not what happened. So there's really no shortcut for doing the actual work in this case. Like, it blows my mind when I meet people and they're like, Krown, I can't get the trading. I'm like, but I'm really serious about this and I really want to do it. I'm like, okay, like, what's your strategy? Oh, well, I just, you know, go off of this and this. I'm like, that's not a fucking strategy. You're just looking for signals, and that's not a strategy. It's not a fucking strategy. At minimum, a strategy needs entry, exit, risk management based off of some sort of technical analysis edge. That's bare fucking minimum. That's like if you're just, you know, playing around in the mud with a stick and doing absolutely the bare fucking minimum, nothing basically. Obviously, there's gonna be people out there doing much more than that, and you are somewhat in a competition with those people. So I would strongly suggest that if you are serious about it, you go through the somewhat laborious process of doing that, because this is a skill that, you know, if you do master, you can, you know, provide yourself a living for the rest of your life. You actually, you know, really put the work and effort into it. But if you don't do that, I haven't found any other way. So you can use whatever edge you want. You know, that's based off your own preferences. Other than that, you know, that's what I was just doing. More books are not going to make you a successful trader, in my opinion. More programs are not going to make you a successful trader. I have one fucking program, and I just add on to it. But even with that, it's like, what I'll tell you is, it's like, hey, here's a buffet of indicators. Here's how I use them. Here's how you could use them. Here are theoretical setups and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you know, and I'll also show you how to backtest and actually like put it into a statistical format. But at the same time, you're still gonna have to do that work. So it is what it is, man. Venegas, sure. Gala, okay. Gala, whoops. Okay. Ugly and more ugly. Yeah, pretty shitty, man. It's the problem with this one is it's kind of like hit our downside targets for now. You know, it wouldn't be asking for too much to get a pity bounce here, but this one actually technically breaking down for what it's worth right now. So I would say that the path of least resistance is to massively new lows, as long as you're below about 1780 on a daily. Above 1780, I'd call a short-term trap with targets back up into the shallow 20s, 21 to 22. But long-term, extremely bearish as long as you're creating lower highs, which your last lower high was about 27 cents. So long-term, I think it's a little more likely for this one to trade down towards 11, 12 cents before like the next major bounce. Like this is not a strong setup right here. This is a breakdown setup is what it is. Like the thing is that because you are like essentially retesting your prior like massive lows, typically you get a pity bounce around there. But I think at best your pity bounce brings you up to like 21, 22 cents or so, if that even happens to begin with, which I don't think I really have a bias on. I mean, if Bitcoin does it, this one will as well. Full hour, technically putting in a bit of short-term bullish divergence, so maybe it trades up a little bit further north of here towards 17.5 to 1780. So if that were to happen, that would be a good sign that you will get another bounce before downside. But long-term, extremely bearish below about 27 cents or 28 cents, wherever that is. Let's see. Old Man Yeet says, any ways to chart bacon? Looking for a dip to fill my bags. I don't know if I'm being trolled, but I'll just type in bacon over here and see what pops up. Bacon Dow, motherfucker. It's a thing. Piece of shit, man. What the fuck is this? Okay, Jesus Christ, man. Come on. Come on! Not good. Should you farm this? It depends. Do you want to make more money or lose more money? Because it's pretty good at losing. I mean, it's never been in an uptrend ever. In some of the most bullish of all time markets, even through the fourth quarter of 2021, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this is very unlikely to reverse here. Again, it probably does reach for new lows, but looking for a dip to fill my bags. I mean, I guess the hoping is that you reverse here and then you pop back above 1.5 cents. If you see something like that, that'd be a good reversal. But yeah, I'm gonna go with more shit for this one. It's just a lot. I mean, here's a real chart, man. Again.
He said he was trolling and talking about the meat.
Oh, you bastard! And it's an actual fucking stupid cryptocurrency, huh? Dear, that's the state of this market, man. God damn it, man. Oh, I got trolled. I got trolled like a fucking noob. I'm new to the internet, man. Well, you got me. CZ says, sir, milk futures, DC1. Okay, I've actually never looked at these. Let's see. Class 3 milk futures. Okay. Actually pretty good. Pretty fucking bullish here. Doesn't look like it trades much, but this thing looks like it's ready for a macro breakout on the monthly. You might see another pullback somewhere around about 24.50 to 24.65, but I think long term, like quarterly, into the next couple of years, this one trades much higher, much higher. So short term, pullback relatively soon. Who knows how far the pullback goes? Maybe even as deep as $21. Don't know. But long term, very fucking bullish. Just one massive accumulation over the past 10 years. It looks like something like this. I mean, maybe it rejects here and comes all the way down, but I would be massively bullish on this long term, especially as long as you're above $20 specifically. So yeah. Martin Hunt says, quick look at XMR if there's time. Where would it look like it wants to do something different from the rest of this market? So basically, where would it look bullish? Let's see. Depends what time frame you're looking at. Yeah, I mean, it still has a different chart here, to be fair, but it retraced further down than what I would feel comfortable saying is, going to be interpreted as a bullish retracement, to be honest with you. I would say that this thing is extremely likely to fall apart if you do see below about basically 215 on a daily. I'd be looking for this one to undo the whole March rally back down to like 170 and probably beyond. I mean, this is just going to be one massive trap here on the weekly. Yeah. I'd even go as far to say that if you see a weekly closure, like if you see a weekly closure, especially below like 220, yeah, I'm very likely looking for that full on confirmation for a mega trap below 215. If you're super conservative, but I would not wait for that. And that would imply price action back down towards like 150 over time. Short-term timeframes though, you're likely to bounce here or not. I mean, daily probably puts in another short-term bounce, might even bounce back up towards 235, 236 region, but long-term, I have to go with the market here, man. I'm really hesitant to, I'm really hesitant to be bullish on this one. I would only be bullish on this one with the daily closure back above 255. Until then, I think this one's a lot more likely to trade down. Yeah. Let's see, what about a 5-day? 5-day looks like a reversal and hidden bearish divergence going all the way back to your October, November highs. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is probably going to be a top. I would only invalidate that above 255. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful, ma'am. Nick Sands says FLT. Okay, FLT. All right. Oh, this is a stock. On TSX. Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you for specifying. I'm guessing it's this drone delivery. Okay. The hold is giving me stinky hands. But what time? Oh God, it's ugly, man. It's fucking ugly, man. It's fucking real ugly. Oh my God, it's another one of these fucking charts. All right, so there's one point of hopium, and it's this, and it's not a good one, but it is this. You're back down around your prior all-time macro lows. Typically, you do get a pity bounce around that region, so in this case, that'd be like 50 cents. It's not a fucking good sign, though. This is mega fucking bearish. There's nothing bullish about this chart at all whatsoever, as long as you're below 75 cents on a respectable time frame like a weekly. On a daily, it's continuation to the downside. There's going to be bounces along the way, but I think that this move is actually still in progress here, and I wouldn't be looking for it to come to another pity bounce until you see daily BBWP in the 90 percentiles minimum. I mean, this is just continuation. This is fucking ugly. This is just garbage, just absolute fucking garbage. All time frames are trending right now. Just the problem is that lower term time frames are getting pretty overdone. So I would be expecting a short term bounce relatively soon. But again, short term bounce maybe at 50 cents. Any bounce that fails to get back above like 70 to 75 is just more continuation to the downside. Very ugly. Very, very bad. Monthly is just atrocious. Just one of the worst charts we've seen today. Very, very bad, my friend. Very, very bad. Okay, let's see. I mean, it doesn't really matter. There's no one really chatting anyways. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to sign off here anyways in like probably 5 minutes or perhaps. Yeah, we did check Rune earlier. So that'll be in the show notes. Just reading through some of the comments here and seeing if there's anything interesting. USDT is in an uptrend, time to buy. I don't think that would be a good sign, man. Talk about tether dominance. See where this is. Actually haven't checked it this week. Yeah, continuing up here. Yeah. Yeah, I have to be kind of bullish here. I'm looking for tether dominance towards 490 plus. Just got another drive of hidden bullish divergence, low volatility. I'm bullish on this for new highs on this rally towards that 490 plus region. As long as you're above basically 440. What is the week low? It's yesterday's low. It's basically 444. Let's see. Adam Killane says ATER looking squeezy. Let's see. ATER. Is this a crypto or no? It's a real stock. Nice. On NAS, and you are said, by the way, you nailed Kava perfectly. Nice. Empty my bags at 550 where you called it, and refilled earlier last night at 4. Nicely done, man. Glad that worked out for you. But always, I always want to give you credit, man, because like you're the one who's making the trades. I'm not fucking trading your account for you. I'm just giving you an opinion on it, and I have no idea, what you're looking to do anyway. So whatever you do, man, is your own success. Like you always have to remember that. But I appreciate it, of course, but that's you, man. Anyways, this thing, is it looking squeezy? I mean, I think you got your squeeze right, or it's not really a squeeze. I mean, it's still a long-term downtrend. Are you going to have hidden bearish divergence with a local high here? Yes, you will. I do think that this one, I would actually treat this one as likely to trade up here, to be honest with you. But there's a very obvious invalidation on this one with big targets to the downside, and that's below $4. I'd actually give it the benefit of the doubt here, to be honest with you. The reason why is because you do have a setup for hidden bullish divergence on daily RSI. So if you do trade above yesterday's high, the 26th of April, then I'd be looking for this one to not just retest the highs of this rally at $7, but complete a short-term reversal with targets up towards maybe like 8 or so. Something like that. I remember we looked at this one like maybe last week as well. Other than that, look, anywhere below $4, and I call this one your next major weekly high. Hidden bearish divergence plays out and probably comes back down to your March lows, somewhere around there. Other than that, I don't really have a strong opinion on this thing. Long-term, monthly. I mean, this would be a good place for a pullback, to be fair. Other than, yeah, not really strong opinions. BK says near USD for our daily weekly. I think we maybe looked at this one. Yeah, we did look at this one. It's come down to my deeper retracement levels, but I don't think it's going to reverse here, to be honest with you. I think this is just going to be a farce. I think it probably trades a little bit lower first before a bit of a bounce, which would be somewhere around the 200, which is like 1190. Just personal opinion. If you're on a 4 hour, do you bounce first up to like 1350? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't have strong opinions on this. My strong opinion is on probably a bigger bounce somewhere around 1185 or so. And then if that bounce brings you back above about 1480, that would be a good indication that this one is going to end up being a long-term bullish and, trade back up towards the highs and probably make new highs. But until then, it's like, it's not really immune from the general market's movements. But, kind of wrapping it up here, short term, generally likely to bounce, but bounces that fail to get back above 15.5 or just failed bounces before, likely continuation to the downside. I mean, personally speaking, I do think that you're going to bounce off this region. Bounce can come up maybe to like 14.25, something like that. But long term, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing actually come down to $10. The reason why I say this is because if I was looking for it to be more on the strong side, I would have expected that reversal at about 1380 or so, which it did not get it. So just short term bounces is kind of what I'd be looking for right there.
Did you look at Rune today?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Venegas says LCX 4-hour and daily. Don't go easy on. Oh God, what is this? Usually you have some pretty good altcoin picks though. I'm guessing it's this thing here on Coinbase. Yeah, really fucking. You already know, man. You already know this fucking bad. It looks to me like it's putting in your next probably weekly high. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to trade back down towards 9 cents or so. Nothing really bullish about this chart, especially as long as you're below about 13.5. So it's ugly, man. It's ugly. Very, very low BBWP. Downtrend starting to emerge on the daily. Daily Jewel is also pointing down again. Not supported by DMI, but yeah, not great, man. Even on a 4-hour, I wouldn't even entertain the possibilities, let alone probabilities of a reversal here in bear trap, as long as you're below 1150. 1150, that is. All short-term bounces are just that, bounces before continuation to the downside. Generally speaking, yeah, not a great chart here long-term, but also not that much history as well, so can't really say too much other than that. Yeah, 5-day barely even populates, let alone a 2-day or daily. But I would be looking lower here. All kinds of gains. All kinds. Indeed, my friend. Indeed. Cool. Let's see. I appreciate that, Nikki Page. I'm looking to buy some on the next dip. I currently don't have LCX. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know, if you're trying to play a bounce, I do like this area right here. Strong probability of a bounce around that 9 cent low. To be very specific about, actually, sorry, it's, what's the open of this? 9.7 or so, somewhere around there. Would be a strong bounce area. If that fails, and I'm looking probably 7.7 to 8 cents, something like that. All right, we'll do, yep, we did Luna's, we did Ape as well. We can do Icon really quickly. I didn't even know that people were even into it since like 2018. Fucking ugly here, real fucking ugly on the 2-day, weekly, hidden bearish divergence. Volatility about to tick up. Weekly Jewel, lots of upside curvature. I'm looking for this one to probably come back down to 61 to 62 cent lows. Daily is just ugly again. You know, short term it might bounce. You know, can very easily bounce back up even to like mid 70s, but it's not the same thing as reversal. Very fucking bearish as long as you're below 82.5. Very fucking bearish. KDA. What is? What is VPAD? VPAD doing some shilling. Yeah, just ban him, man. I'm actually friends with Chris, who is who's associated with that. But now, if you're just gonna shill your thing here to get thingies, no, I'm not interested. It's probably not even on TradingView. Let's see. And if it is, I'm probably gonna have a very nice look at it. All right, Chris, if you're watching this, man, I'm sorry, brother, or at least I'm gonna assume that I'm gonna be sorry, but. Look, it has nothing to do with you, man. I love you. Terrible. Fucking off. This is among the worst charts we've seen today. By fucking far. By fucking far. One of the worst charts we've seen today. Here's a real chart, by the way. This is linear. I think in the most hopium-filled potential, you might see a move towards 40 cents. Like, that's the most hopium I could come up with, which I strongly believe probably won't happen. I think it's a lot more likely to trade all the way back down south of 10 cents in the coming weeks. Or, sorry, not coming weeks, but coming months. This is for Nikki Page, says Sebastian. Nice. I see hidden bullish divergence on Krown. Is it? Where is it? Is it on my hair? My hair is having bearish divergence. If you can see the front, it's not good. Today I learned that a fire truck is actually a water truck. Really? Yeah, spamming you're out. Yeah, so there you go. You get kicked out, and you have a shitty chart, man. I mean, it's kind of punishment enough if like you're showing this. You know, maybe we should go easy on him. Like, you know, mental health awareness is a big thing. For real.
You need to be nice so nobody gets offended.
415 for life. Hey man, yeah, that was my that was my area code when I grew up. Cali Cooks Tunes. Nice one, man. Casta, please. Oh god. You want to see Casta? I'm actually curious, is Casta on this? I wonder what's worse, VPAD or Casta? That's a real question of the day. Let's see. Oh, I think we have a winner. I think we have a winner for shittiest chart of the day. Honestly, I don't know which one's worse, but both of them are pretty fucking bad. The hopium is that you might get a spike every once in a while towards like 25 to 30 cents, but long term the trend is down. It's literally been in some of the most easy market conditions and only goes down. Not great, man. Not great. Kizzo. What's Kizzo? Is this a thing? I think this would be the last one though. I'm guessing it's this thing. It's Kizzo Inu. Oh, it's a fucking dog coin that's going to the moon. Hey, not bad though. It's too new for me to do any real analysis on, but if I had to call it right here on an hourly, I actually do think it's going to make new highs. But other than that, I don't have any strength. I don't have any don't have any opinion on it, man. Way too new. Everyone that bought VPAD got scammed or Casto got scammed. I mean, like, I hate to say it, man. I really hate to say it. Again, I like Chris as a person. I've met him. I consider him a good friend. I can assure you that he's actually a good person. But if people fell for these sort of things, like, I mean, it's like you want to have compassion because, like, people, you know, who did it, they probably just don't know. They might have just been greedy. Who knows? But do you really need to be told that, like, shitcoin is a fucking shitcoin? You know, its name might have been literally just shit. You know, these things are. I feel like the warning is within the name and how it's promoted. Like, for the love of fucking God, man. Glenn Cooper says gives a thumb up if you haven't already. It would be appreciated. You don't have to do it, but we're gonna end here soon, anyways. You didn't get scammed. You bought a small cap. I mean, you know, it takes two to tango, right? Like, if they were promising that you were going to get rich by buying this stuff, then yes, that's kind of a scam, I guess. If they were not promising that and they're just like, hey, we have this shitcoin that you can buy, it takes two to tango, right? Jewel token, DeFi Kingdoms. What the fuck is this? Okay, I don't think this is going to be on trading. It is on TradingView. What the hell? Okay. Really fucking awful though. Holy shit, man. This one goes into the VPAD and Casto drawer. It's not as bad because it actually once almost got a reversal. Got close, but didn't quite get there. But I suspect that you probably continue to do more of the same. You know, some of the other ones, like you might get some hopium pumps up to like $7 in like the best market conditions if Bitcoin were to do like one mega massive bear trap. But that is hopium, sir. And long term, I suspect that you are headed towards new lows, most likely. He's been watching too much OnlyFans. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Alrighty, I think this is a good place to, I think it's a good place to probably end this one. Hey, what's up, Bear Nutrition? Good to see you, man. Good to fucking see you. Just a little touch up. Anyways, sirs and zers, I am going to be signing off now. I need to eat some meat. I need to eat some liver and get towards a workout as well. Anyways, I want to wish everyone a happy and pleasurable and profitable rest of your day, or at least not profitable if that's the case. I want to say thank you to our moderation crew for keeping everyone safe in Safu, and thanks to everyone for tuning in as well. It's been a nice and fun day. I expect that we got some more volatility coming up in these next 7 to 14 days, what I'm trying to say. And with that said, take care, stay safe, and see you hopefully soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate.